Okay, before I start off this main focus of the video, I thought I'd make a video about, well, this. Anyway, I just thought I'd talk about my Nick Jr. Top 5 list. If you haven't checked that out, I recommend you check that out. Even though I made the video back in 2013, but my list has never changed. Maggie and the Ferocious Beast, Max and Ruby, Allegra's Window, Gullah Gullah Island, and Blue's Clues are still in my top 5. As for the other shows that were great at the time, they are part of my honorable mentions in the description of that video. So, if you want to check out that video, I say check that out before you watch this one, because this one is actually on the total opposite. And a lot of people actually requested that I make this video. And what's the video about? Oh, you probably would guess this, but this is the top 5 worst Nick Jr. shows, in my opinion. If you watch any of these shows, I feel sorry for you, because you just basically watched, the Hitler of programming, the Satan of programming, in my opinion. These 5 shows are so bad, trust me, you'd rather jump out of a window than watch any of them. But to be quite honest, if I had to choose between any of these 5 shows and an episode of Teen Titans Go, I'd rather watch these 5 shows. Of course, I'm going to get a lot of Teen Titans Go haters on this, but I don't give a darn. So anyway, as for their programming, if you want me to do a rant on their programming, I'll do that for a separate video. If I have anything positive to say, I like how Thomas the Tank Engine's back on Nick Jr. Apparently PBS Kids pretty much gave him the brush off, which I feel sorry for poor Thomas, but at least he's getting love on Nick Jr., so. Anyway, that's my thing I want to talk about for Nick Jr., so now let's get on with the top 5 list. Here we go.
Number 5, worst. Team Umizoomi. This was originally going to be number 4 on the list, but I found one of the other shows worse than this, so I decided to put this low. It's all about basically these 3 characters, a boy and a girl and their robot friend, basically going on adventures and basically helping out situations. I've only seen 2 episodes, and neither of them appealed me. One involved this girl whose little sister is trapped in a treehouse and the ladder broke, and it was up to them to rescue her, which I don't blame them for that. The other episode was the Halloween episode, which was okay, but overall, of all the shows I've seen so far, well, Team Umizoomi is the worst on the list. If I haven't seen any of the shows mentioned in the comments, I'll probably give it a chance, and if there's something worse than this one, then I'll probably consider redoing the video and basically redo the list. Although I think the rest of the other 4 probably won't leave the list at all. But Team Umizoomi might, but as of now, it's number 5 worst. Oh, and another thing, this might come to you as a shock, but Donovan Patton, also known as Joe from Blue's Clues, actually plays one of the 3 characters on the show. He plays the robot in the middle, if anyone was curious, but aside from that, back onto the list. Number 4, worst. Bubble Guppies. I actually thought this was going to be number 5, but it's worse than Team Umizoomi. Their singing is horrible. The storyline is just awful. After seeing a bunch of clips and stuff, let me just say, I hate Bubble Guppies. But I hate the other 3 more than this steaming pile of turd. So basically, well, how can I best describe it? It's about kid mermaids basically doing adventures and stuff, getting into trouble. They even once formed a rock band, which, to be honest, when I did a parody of Poker Face, I literally face-palmed after listening to that. They just can't write music. Their singing makes Kidz Bop look like a masterpiece. And of course, we all know Kidz Bop is bad, but these guys are even worse. In fact, I think the Naked Brothers Band are better than these guys. If you're looking for a show that involves mermaids, all I can say is watch A2O, or better yet, watch Disney's The Little Mermaid, the TV series. Anyway, moving on to number 3. Also, one more thing. After 4 seasons, they canceled and never made a 5th season. Good decision. Now let's move on to number 3. Number 3, worst. Hoo boy, Tickety Talk. How many of you thought this would be a series about Blue's Clues Tickety Talk, basically the pink alarm clock? I thought it would be about her, but I was wrong. Instead, we get basically 2 characters doing basically mischief things, goofing off, stuff like that, and This show is worse than Bubble Guppies and Team Umizoomi. After seeing an episode a few times, I just wanted to facepalm and basically do the same thing Mr. Gullible did in one episode by banging his head on a locker and screaming macaroni salad. That's what I felt like doing after seeing an episode of Tickety Talk. So my advice to you is, if you see the title, avoid it. Don't be fooled like I did. Now let's focus on number 2. Number 2, worst. Yo Gabba Gabba! I thought this would be a good show. I actually watched a few episodes. I hated it. It's just about 5 main characters dancing like ridiculous freaks and basically say the magic words. Yo Gabba Gabba! I'd rather not. The songs are weird. The segments are not that great. Seeing the show is just downright silly. Ugh. And don't get me started on the songs. I also hate basically how the Pistachios commercial actually did one of their songs. You know, the Vegetables in My Tummy song? Oh boy. That's the only song I like from them. It's okay, but everything else, this is the second worst show. There's one show that's worse than this. In fact, if I had to choose between Yo Gabba Gabba and the number 1 worst show, I'll take Yo Gabba Gabba any day. Okay, now before we get to the number 1 worst show, I should ask you guys your thoughts on this one show. I heard mixed reviews, and should I watch it or avoid it? What's the show I'm talking about? And that show would be this one, Shimmer and Shine. What is it about? Well, so far all I know is basically about 2 genies basically granting wishes for their friend. Unfortunately, I don't know much information about this show. I've heard mixed reviews, I've heard good reviews, I've heard bad reviews. All I can describe is it's sort of similar to, well, Aladdin without all the action and stuff, because basically this is a Nick Jr. show, and, well, Aladdin's more of a show for ages 7 and up, which I still recommend you check out that show, as well as the movies. They're great. As for the TV series Shimmer and Shine, should I give it a chance, or should I pass on it? I kind of want to give it a chance because I want to give my thoughts on the show. I haven't given a fair chance, and I don't want to basically give my thoughts on the show that I haven't checked out. As for the other 5 that are mentioned in the video, I watched all 5. This is the one that I haven't given a fair chance, and I really want to give a chance. So basically, what do you guys think of Shimmer and Shine? Now, without further ado, let's get on with the number 1 worst Nick Jr. show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the number 1 worst Nick Jr. show ever in the history of their programming. What show is it? Before I tell you what the number 1 show is, let's play a guessing game. Tell me, what do you get if you get a girl that speaks English and Spanish, who's best friends with a monkey, who carries a backpack and a map, who also has friends that are basically a lizard, a blue cow, and a squirrel that only speaks Spanish, and sometimes should watch out for basically a fox that likes to swipe things? Can you guess which show I'm talking about? If you guessed Dora the Explorer, well, guess what? Congratulations, you are correct. Now give yourself a round of applause, while I basically rant on this steaming pile of turd. Yeah. Now you may be asking me, where's Go Diego Go? It's made by the same people who made this show. Well, it may not be in the top 5, but he comes to number 6 on the worst list, FYI. So, I actually hate Dora more than I hate Diego. Of course. I mean, what's so great about this show? Basically, the songs are bad. Don't get me started on their parodies of We Are Family and Get On Your Feet. I shake my fist at Dora for making those songs. You should have never made parodies of them. And to make matters worse, this show has been going on since afterwards. In fact, up towards 2009. It should have been Blue's Clues that kept on running. I would rather watch Blue's Room than this steaming pile of trash. If you're looking for a show that involves people speaking Spanish, I recommend Maya and Miguel. Do not watch this one. It's stupid. It's repetitive. I mean, sure, there were moments that were okay. I mean, the very earlier episodes from 2001 to 2004, they were okay. But after when Dora's mom announced that she was going to have twins, that's where the show started to go downhill. And did we need a spin-off called Dora and Friends? No! Whoever made that series should be fired from Nick Jr. for good. This is the worst ever Nick Jr. show. And yes, Dora and Friends also counts on the list, but I'm going to tie it up with Dora the Explorer because it involves Dora for sure. Anyway, that pretty much concludes my top 5 worst Nick Jr. list. As you can tell, I used the new logo to represent the bad portion of their shows, and the older logo for their good portion of shows, which shouldn't be a surprise because I'm pretty sure everyone would do the same. So, at least they kept the color scheme. That's one thing they did right. So, yeah. If you agree with my list, then great. If you disagree with it, feel free to tell me your list. And if you like any of these 5 shows, especially Dora the Explorer, then you should be ashamed of yourself. So anyway, that pretty much concludes my top 5 worst Nick Jr. list. So since I got nothing else to say, I'm signing off. Thanks for watching.